One of the things that we talked about when we met before is driving internal change. And what you paired with that conversation was the need for consistency in messaging. Tell me what you meant by all that.
A lot of us have heard of the rule of seven. You need to hear something 7 times for it to stick. And that's generally true, especially when we're not talking about areas that are like the day in and day out of what somebody does. If you want to go talk about what's happening in the customer support world and you're talking to cross-functional partners, they are not living and breathing that. They're doing their own things. And so there's actually a really key importance to driving consistency in some of that message and restating things. People have a lot going on. Mindshare is difficult. So I think even people with the best of intentions like it, the consistency is important. But there's also this element of, I think consistent advocacy does also build credibility. It can show, look, I'm not just here to try to change one thing or to try to give you like a nugget of insight. I want to build like an enduring partnership. Like we are stronger together. Let's like build a system that is self-reinforcing where we both succeed. And then it's less about kind of one-off influence and more about, hey, like we're building joint plans, we're setting joint goals together.
That's important, like the driving alignment on a strategic level, right? Goals and vision and what we're trying to do. That's different than reporting on data, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, because what's interesting is in these cross-functional, across different departments and internal teams, how much of that conversation is keeping on track, on alignment with a shared goal and vision versus reporting on what's happened?
That's a good question. I would much rather be much more of the former, because in an ideal world, being on track with what's happening in the data, that is hopefully performing well and like ideally the most boring part of that conversation. It's not always. And as we know, we get all kinds of shocks that hit the system that support orgs deal with. But I actually think where you really unlock the value, and certainly where you think about like where a team is going this year, over the next few years, it's those broader conversations around strategy. That's what gets you there. And I can give you an example that kind of ties back into your last question as well. A number of years ago, I was going to a number of our the VPs of the business and pitching
this proposal around there. There's this integration between the product and the support that I thought
we were well positioned for, we really needed to do is going to be impactful for users. And coming with a vision it's not, hey, change this one thing. This was, we want to organize around this. We think it'll be impactful. And the great news was like everyone at that table generally was like, we agree, let's do this. It then took me another year, almost year and a half to get real movement on it, because even though people agree, resources are tight, it takes time to sometimes get the inertia moving on some of these things, maybe especially in a big company. So what was really important there was not to count that a win, but to keep following up, keep having those touch points across those teams to align, okay, like how do we set this up? What's going to be needed? Like, what does this look like in the timelines of your business? What would you need to be successful? And we're then able to get all the right pieces set on the board to make it happen. And it actually is now, I'd say, a core part of our multi-year strategy. We've been working on it for some time. I see runway ahead for a number more years, and it's transforming part of how we do our business here. But some people will look at that and say, wow, this is great you're doing this year. And they don't know that, hey, we're standing on the shoulders of previous years of sowing these seeds and getting the alignment and following up and making it work. And I think that consistency actually is really important when you're trying to do big things, when you're trying to move the ship.